we're ready to call this meeting to order. Sandy can do roll call.
Councilperson Brenny,
Here.
Bruning,
Here.
Perry,
Yes.
Mailer,
Here.
McGinty.
I'm here. Next we'll move on, is there any conflict of interest?
Nope.
Nope. Well. If not, we'll move on to 3. We'll need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions, discussion? If none, we'll move on to a vote.
Councilperson Mailer,
Yes.
McGinty.
Yes.
Brenny,
Yes.
Bruning.
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
motion carried.
Move on to 4. Now's the time, if there's any citizens, they have the opportunity to address the council on items that are not on the agenda. If anyone.
No?
None, we'll move on to the miscellaneous. We'll need a motion for the consideration of accepting Ann Stewart Sanders' resignation from the Sac City Trees Forever Committee.
I'll also move to accept her resignation.
I'll second it with thanks.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion, questions? If none, we'll move on to a vote.
Councilperson Bruning,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Mailer,
Yes.
McGinty.
Yes.
Brenny,
Yes.
motion carried.
Move on to B, we'll need a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance number 2017-288.
I would make the motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 217-288.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve. Any questions? We had anything at all?
Any comments,
No
Jamie?
comments.
Okay.
So just to clarify, all this really is doing is making it, this is a planning and zoning request or a proposed or change that makes it so that the Board of Adjustment cannot review the current law that says you cannot live in the main floor of a commercial district. Is that correct?
Yes, it removes the special exception for ground floor residences.
So I mean, it doesn't, I mean, it's still, it's illegal now, it just is the fact that you can no longer appeal it to the Board of Adjustment, is that?
Yeah. You can't request a special exception for the board to hear.
It makes it a higher bar to be accepted.
Okay. Any other questions? Discussion? If none, we'll move on to a vote.
Councilperson Brenny,
Yes.
Bruning,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Mailer,
Yes.
McGinty.
Yes.
Motion carried.
I would move to waive the third reading of ordinance number 2017-288.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to waive the third reading. Any comments, questions?
Nope.
None, we'll move on to a vote.
Councilperson Mailer,
Yes.
McGinty.
Yes.
Brenny,
Yes.
Bruning.
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
motion carried.
Move on to C, committee and department head reports.
I see Bub has his water rates on here again. Has any more discussion been put forth on that?
We'll be looking at it probably in December or January. I think with maybe a slight increase and some budget restraints, maybe we can make things work a little more efficiently. He also put on there too about, just make, Scott had mentioned the $100,000 for the tank rehab. I'll have to check into that on the details. This is something that's gonna occur 10 years from today, or this year. My understanding from Mr. Johnson was that since there is lead or asbestos or something inside the paint that's in the tank, that it's going to take an abatement on the next go around because the thickness of the paint's so thin now. They're going to have to sandblast the whole thing down, which means they're going to have to put a tarp over it when they do it. And all these special circumstances, it's going to cause the price to be very expensive. So I'll have to find out more about that, but it's something, if we do have to pay for, is we're gonna have to plan for.
So this is above and beyond the regular
That's my understanding.
painting fees?
Yeah, but this is, I haven't discussed it in detail with Bub at all, so it's, I don't have a lot of details on it right now.
I believe when we did it last time, he said it covered the repainting, but wouldn't cover the stripping back to the bare metal. And that there were issues, that it covers repainting, but it doesn't cover the additional cost.
Did you ever dig into raising the rate of gas since we haven't since 67 or 8 or whatever? Or did that ever get stirred up at all?
Yeah, it's, that's gonna have to be considered soon as well, just to, you know, the warmer weather, the more and more people go into geothermal energy and energy savings overall. It's put a hurt on the gas revenues, and we'll be looking at that probably in the near future. I guess I can bring it up now, but I had a guy from IMEU come up here today to help me with some training on our upcoming inspection. It'll be next year early. And one of the items he brought up was that we have to send out letters to all the customers in town offering them some type of valve. It's a safety feature that can be allowed in homes. Only 3 in Iowa, he said he knew of, actually signed up for this, but we're going to come up with a cost of what the cost has to be incurred by the landowner if they want this service or this valve to be inserted. So Jason's getting an estimate of what the labor plus materials would be to charge, and that'll have to be inserted into our rate sheet. And probably at the same time, we'll look at adjusting the rates a little bit.
Anything else under committee or department reports? None, we'll move on to the council forum. Do we get any more news on the, what was that, insurance for the plumbing up to the house?
They'll be up here, the next council meeting, I believe. The lady that's over that program is gonna come and do a presentation. Last night we had training for P&Z and the Board of Adjustments. I thought was very interesting and went over a lot of the issues and concerns that's associated with those 2 committees, and several items I didn't necessarily know about. And he went over several court cases, Iowa law regarding a lot of this, the importance of comp plans being tied to rezoning, several items.
Are we gonna relook at our comprehensive plan then or not?
Well, we had a little discussion on it, and I think especially with the proposed housing development south of town, we're gonna have to add a section in the comp plan for that. And then I would probably look at evaluating what the cost would be to do an overall updated comp plan. Our last one was from 2003, and I think we should be very stringent on what we expect out of a comp plan, instead of just a generalized piece of paper. That if we're paying this much money for it, that we need to actually have something we can follow. But it does, the comp plan, according to the training last night, kind of basically reduces the city's liability when it comes to rezoning. He kind of explained it as if the council comes in and rezones a portion of the zone, the city, to a different zone that it was originally intended for, that if let's say the neighbors sued in court saying that that doesn't follow the city's plan, basically that the city could basically judge for the resident and invalidate any decision made by the city, or they could sue the city for damages or whatever. He said essentially your comp plan is your guide for what you want to do with your zoning in the future. So legally, it's pretty important, I think, the comp plan is to the whole planning and zoning commission.
Can the council amend the current comp plan before we have a new one? done?
Yes.
What is
Yeah.
the procedure needed to amend that?
I'll have to find the details out of that, but I think it'd just be a simple resolution. And I think Iowa State's willing to do the wording for us on that if we're just gonna add a new section that includes that. And that's also, you need the comp plan if you're wanting to implement a urban renewal plan, which is required for TIF in the future. So you basically need a comp plan to pass a lot of tax incentives and tax revenue devices and all that. So it's required for a lot of stuff it's related to tax.
The housing committee met, was that 10 days ago, something like that? To explore, what?
Roughly.
Roughly, I don't know. To explore using a CDBG grant through Region 12 to potentially upgrade some existing, shall we say, underutilized residences. And it sounds like there could be potentially, what would happen is that the city would receive a grant and the houses would be rehabbed and then sold, and the money from the sale of the houses would go back into a revolving loan fund to be able to keep improving homes.
And I went around last Friday with the lady from Region 12 and looked at two houses that we went inside of, and then we looked at another 4 around town. It's up, you can get up to $500,000 and rehab 2 to 4 houses through it. So she was looking for more medium-sized housing to stretch the dollars out and maximize what we can get out of it.
Some of ours were too small and we chose, or
No.
she was okay with them?
She actually likes some of the smaller ones.
Good.
Is that a matching grant then, or?
It is, but it's not much. She said like 2,000 per house, if the city could match that, and I think what we'll do, and I haven't talked to Curtis yet about it, but we've got a certain amount that we dedicate towards tearing the homes down. If we can rehab it with the funds that we're dedicating towards tearing the houses down, you're accomplishing the same goal basically, so. But one way or the other, I think it's worth, investigating and doing, even if we had to find some other funds. But I think that's maybe a good solution.
Are we gonna go ahead and apply for that, or what kind of time frame are you looking at?
She sent me an email today, and I've got to answer a few questions for her. And after I answer them, she's going to put an application together, and she just said she would notify me anything she needs from the city. I think we'll probably, usually CDBG requires a resolution from the city before actually doing it, so we'll be on board and it'll be involved, we're on board before we start.
Sounds like a good program. Thanks for working on it.
It'd be a lot cheaper than tearing the house down. I'd agree
Yeah.
too. At least a lot cheaper than the city.
Yeah, basically, if we're putting $2,000 in, and it costs $7,000 to tear it down, and we're putting $2,000 in to actually.
But they're upping the taxes.
Yeah, yeah, plus the increased taxes you get on those new homeowners, so. And Sac City's actually one of just a handful of cities that they're even looking at for this statewide, and Region 12 thought our city was the best candidate pretty much out of all the cities in Region 12 to get this. So and she said she's looked at several. she said one of the issues, and we do have this issue in this town, is finding out who owns these abandoned properties. A lot of them, taxes have been bought and then the person's passed away, things like that. But we've had a good response of getting a price for what they want for the house, and actually having an owner attached to the house. So the ones in the future that we don't know, it wouldn't hurt to work on getting what estate that's in, or finding out who the owner is for future projects. And I know I spoke to Chuck Schulte, and he said that, and I kind of mentioned to him that if he ever has any going to the state, just if he's interested, send me a list of the houses he has, that if he'd be interested in this program, and he thought it was a good idea.
Just as kind of, I guess, a point of information, Senator Nate Bolton was in town yesterday, wanted to do a tour of the downtown area after, to find out what the impact was of the facade grant and what some of the city needs were. And for some reason, I was called to give him a tour. He was very impressed with our downtown and commented several times that he felt that this was a model of, a good thing, that here's money invested, and then other people like Scott with the hardware store. So we had a lot of residual improvement happening as a result of the grant, and was really congratulating the city on what we had done and how nice things looked and how many opportunities he felt were here. And he sits on the Senate Appropriations Committee, so that's kind of a nice one to maybe have on your side.
Anything else?
This was me.
Oh, must be done.
Saved by the bell. Time's up.
I would make the
That was
motion.
Who did the first?
Tom did.
Tom.
Thank you.
Then moved and seconded to adjourn.
That's classic. No, I'm not objecting, Bill. And thank you for not talking. No.
I told her I had 4 things on the list and I was gonna bring up additional ones, so.
Sorry. I can take it back, though.
No, quick, call for a vote, Sandy.
Yep, you can go ahead and call for a vote.
Councilperson Brennan,
Yes.
Bruni,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Mailer,
Yes.
McGinty.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Is that good?
Have fun with that.
Uh,
Is that good enough for you?
could be